So, folks, we got to talk about the Iran war and the Memorandum of Understanding. We've been talking about this for the last few days here. It's progressed quite far. And I just have to note something incredible. Donald Trump signed it electronically today, made a big deal of it. And does anyone want to take a wild guess as to where he signed this Memorandum of Understanding? It's maybe one of the last places on Earth anyone should sign an agreement ending a conflict. I shit you not, he signed it at Versailles. He signed it at Versailles. Now, if you know anything about history, this is this. There's an element of this that has to be one of the either one of the greatest practical jokes of all time by the French president, or like one of the funniest quirks and happenstances of history that I've ever seen. You don't even have to really make jokes about it because it makes a joke of itself. Macron absolutely shading Trump here. Like it's truly silly. The Treaty of Versailles, for those of you who don't know, was the treaty that ended World War One, and it was largely the Treaty of Versailles that was considered such a humiliation for the German people that Hitler was able to rise to power off of the conditions imposed by the Treaty of Versailles and the discontent with it and the national humiliation of it. The fact that Donald Trump is signing this century's version of the Treaty of Versailles and we're the fucking losers in it, it's, I don't know, history doesn't repeat, but it does fucking rhyme, doesn't it? Like, holy shit. And not only that, if some of you will recall, yesterday I talked about how it really seemed like they were sending out JD Vance specifically to take the heat and do a media tour for his book while also getting grilled on the Iran Memorandum of Understanding, right? And I said, it sure seems like they're throwing him under the bus for this.
It's because the interior is gaudy AF. It made Trump feel like he was back home. Only the Sun King actually had taste.
Lily loves stuff. This is actually really funny. He's a couple of days ago, he talked about accepting the G7 being held at Versailles, right? And he was like, oh man, they don't have gold leaf there. They have the real thing. And I cannot stress enough that the president of the United States is so dumb. He thinks that the gold at Versailles is solid. He thinks that the gold, like the gold materials all around Versailles are solid gold. He literally doesn't. He's like, it's not gold leaf. It's the real thing, bitch. Versailles is entirely gold leaf. That's what it's famous for. I can't. I can't, guys. But remember how I said it sure seems like they're throwing JD Vance under the bus on this one. Well, I can now officially confirm that is, in fact, what Republicans are doing. Republicans are throwing en masse JD Vance under the bus. This is White House correspondent for News Nation, Kelly Meyer. New congressional Republicans are already placing the blame on Vice President JD Vance for a terrible deal with Iran. One congressional Republican tells me, quote, conservatives on the Hill are stunned that Vance would erase all of Trump's military victories in such a terrible deal. Trump effectively won the war, and at the 11th hour, Vance is negotiating his way to a loss. Unquote. Holy shit, guys. Holy shit. They're doing it. They're really doing it. Vance is their fall guy. Trump praised the deal, praised the deal reached with Iran during his visit to the G7 in France and signed a copy of the MOU tonight at Versailles. Trump selected Vance to lead the talks over Rubio. Vance and Rubio both have reported 2028 ambitions. The fact that congressional Republicans are throwing JD Vance under the bus, it serves them a couple of different purposes. One, everyone hates JD Vance. He's, to be very clear, a fucking freak. He's a white nationalist, and he's a bought and paid for stooge by billionaires like Peter Thiel and Mark Andreessen, right? And not to say that, like, Marco Rubio isn't bought, right? But they want to make any kind of 2028 run-up as smooth as possible, and they're getting the knives out. Vance is having his Julius Caesar moment. And he's not even in the position of Caesar. It's like if the story of Julius Caesar was actually about Brutus and Brutus got stabbed in the back. It's truly incredible stuff. And meanwhile, a lot of Republicans are also trying to act like Donald Trump is literally Jesus. Here's this clip of, who's this now? Senator Jim Banks, Republican, on Fox News.
Nuclear weapon. And what President Trump is attempting to accomplish from all of this will put him down in history as once again the president of the United States that saved Europe, saved the rest of the world, made the world a safer place by preventing Iran from having a nuclear weapon. I trust President Trump. I think this is the best way forward. The other part about all of this, Larry, too, is that we need time to rebuild our munition stockpiles, to invest in more sophisticated military weapons and technologies. So if we have to go back into Iran and hold them accountable in 3 months or 6 months, we'll be in a better position to do that thanks to President Trump's forward thinking and leadership at the Pentagon, the Department of War under Secretary Hegseth. That's an important part of this equation, too.
Well, I think
nuclear weapon.
Like, this is actually insane. Donald Trump saved the world from the consequences of the thing he did. Are you kidding? This is actually insane. But also, you can see already what the sleight of hand is. They're all just like, Donald Trump, brilliant strategist. He led us to victory after victory. And then JD Vance came in and ruined it. But you know what JD Vance, that dastardly betrayer, can't take away from Donald Trump? Donald Trump saved the world from nuclear Armageddon. Like, that's what they're going to be doing here, right? Like, they're going to be doing like this shell game where they just try and put the blame all on JD Vance and, let Donald Trump continue to be their golden boy. It is truly crazy. But that combined with the fact that he says the quiet part out loud towards the end of that clip, which is what I find incredible, right? Which is that, well, also the U.S. munition stockpile is critically low. So if we give us 6 months to like catch our breath, and we'll be able to bomb Iran back into oblivion again. And like that reveals that we actually had a terrible position. The United States was in a terrible position regarding Iran, because once those munition stockpiles run out, and some of those munition stockpiles were very, very low. We looked at them the other day. In some cases, only dozens of interceptors left. If that conflict had gone on for another couple weeks, we would start seeing stories of drones hitting our Navy. We would start seeing stories about far more people dying in our military. Donald Trump, for all of his flaws, for all of the things that he has that are awful and terrible, does have this like primitive, like lizard-like acumen for what might constitute a PR disaster. And he knows that the second people start seeing dead US soldiers on TV every night, any support he has is dead, right? Obviously, we need to look at a couple more Republicans trying desperately to spin this deal.
They'll never admit it, Senator.
It's Mike Lee, everybody.
But we have Iran on its knees. We between Operation Fury and between economic fury, epic fury, and economic fury, the military side and the economic and financial side. That country has lost its capabilities. They are not the bully they once was. They don't have the capabilities. They're on their knees. They'll never admit it, but we hold the cards, don't we, sir?
We absolutely do. He's significantly degraded their military, their political leadership, their Navy specifically, other key points of infrastructure. And as a result of that, they are negotiating from a position of relative weakness. Well, we're in a position of relative.
No, they're not negotiating from a position of relative weakness. The United States established a blockade on the Strait of Hormuz because the United States could not break Iran's stranglehold on the Strait of Hormuz. It's literally a defeat militarily of the United States. It is explicitly that. Like the idea that, oh, they're negotiating from a position of weakness. No, they're not. They're actually negotiating from a position of strength here. They beat us.
Strength. So again, I applaud him for doing this and for putting America first.
Yes, sir. Senator Mike Lee, a great state of Utah.
Mike Lee, you got him. You got him. And let's just take a look. How weak, what was this position of strength the United States had? We had these dwindling stockpiles of munitions, critically low. In some cases, it is going to take another 4 or 5 years of constant production just for us to reach pre-Iran war levels. We burned through over half of our stockpile in the span of 8 weeks? Genuinely, this is incalculable. It's going to take us years to remanufacture those arms. Also, Donald Trump at the G7 today really enjoyed flapping his gums, right? Just really enjoyed talking about what kind of position the United States is in. And Trump says oil reserves would run out in 4 weeks without a Iran deal, risking bedlam. We run out of reserves at about 4 weeks, Trump said in France, while at the Group of Seven summit, discussing the recent memorandum of understanding with Iran. There are reserves all over the world, and we would really run out. And there'll be a time where you wouldn't be able to get it. What it does is it allows the ships to go. If we keep bombing, those ships won't be going. Whether he's talking about the US stockpile, which certainly seems like he is, or the global stockpile runs out in 4 weeks, that clearly indicates that the United States was not negotiating from a position of strength, but rather from a position of pleading with Iran. Please, Iran, we'll do anything. We'll give you $300 billion. We'll unfreeze $50 billion of your assets. Please, Iran, please keep sending oil out. This is a colossal defeat. I described this as the United States surrendering to Iran, and every day more information comes out that further validates that particular analysis. This is a greater strategic defeat than what the United States suffered in Vietnam. It is going to have sweeping ramifications both geopolitically and domestically for the United States. It's crazy. But all of these Republicans keep acting like, oh, no, you don't understand. You don't understand, right? The United States, we hold all the cards here, okay?
And let's be absolutely clear here, as somebody that served as a diplomatic liaison officer in Saudi Arabia for 2 years and served in Iraq, this is the weakest that Iran has been in decades. This might be the weakest that they've ever been in the history of this country. We have decapitated their leadership. We have destroyed their navy. We own their airspace. And the gasping cries of a crying animal for them was to close the Strait of Hormuz. Now that will be opened. And what we have...
The gasping cries of a dying animal was closing the Strait of Hormuz. Oh, you mean that thing we couldn't get them to reverse by bombing them? We destroyed their navy, but we couldn't get them to reopen the Strait of Hormuz? The gasping breath of a dying animal, but we're giving them hundreds of billions of dollars? Now, what's really funny, of course, is that this is being sold by JD Vance as like, no, guys, it's not, guys, we're not giving them hundreds of billions of dollars. We're not doing that. Get out of here. Get right out of town. No. It's going to be a private-public partnership. Guys, don't jump to these conclusions. Guys, please.
Done is we have cut off their BATNA. BATNA is the best alternative to a negotiating agreement, because what they know is if they do not adhere to what we have put before them, then guess what? The pain train is coming. They're going to see more bombs. They're going to see more threats from us that they're not going to be able to withstand. So the fear of that is what has driven them to the table. And also, I will tell you, in the past, nobody has been stronger in understanding the peace through strength that President Trump has put on full display. They know what's coming if they don't adhere to the rules. And now they will also never have a nuclear weapon over President Trump's watch. So I am not concerned at all with what those that may not like this deal might say, because, again, President Trump is operating from a position of strength.
Okay, so
and let's be absolutely.
Yeah, it's so much strength. It's so much strength, guys. Now I want to play for you guys this clip from CBS that's been doing the rounds. Let's yeah, here we go. I was looking for this.
Walk through some of this. The Iranians are saying that they're going to have access to a $300 billion reconstruction fund. True or false?
Well, Ed, that's the sort of thing they could have access to, funded by the Gulf Coast Coalition, so long as they honor their end of the obligation. I think that one of the things you're going to see, Ed, and people have to be skeptical of this, is that the hardliners in the Iranian system will overemphasize the benefits that Iran gets while underemphasizing all the things that they have to concede and all the things they have to provide in order to get these benefits. So we absolutely are open to the Gulf Coast countries investing in the reconstruction of Iran, but only if Iran ends their nuclear program, ends their enriched stockpile of material, and is really open to an inspections and enforcement regime that gives the American people confidence they're never going to have a nuclear weapon. So I think the dance you're going to see, Ed, which is going to be interesting, is the Iranian media, especially the hardline media, they're going to talk a lot about what they get without talking about what they give. It's important for all of us to correct that record.
Walk through some of this.
Yeah, no. It's very important. Like, part of what JD Vance claims when he's been going on these shows is that, oh, no, it's going to be coming from, like, the Gulf states. But this was negotiated between the United States and Iran. Like, this wasn't also negotiated with, like, several other nations. This isn't a giant group effort. This is between the United States and Iran. So this is kind of like saying, no, guys, I agreed with my mortal enemy, Lucy, that we were going, I was going to give her $100. But no, I'm not giving her $100. In our agreement, I said, I said, to her after we wrote it down that, she would be getting $100, but it would be a loan from our friend Mike and our friend Jezebel. They would each be giving Lucy a loan of $50. And it's not really giving money if then Lucy has to pay it back. So that's clearly what was meant in this agreement that we wrote down, where it said, I give Lucy $100. It is truly just a bizarre game that they're trying to play. Yeah, Grigor Niet Russian would blush with what is happening here. Now, all of this, by the way, is predicated on this, like, chest-beating, rah-rah, American exceptionalism, America's military is number one, etc., because we needed to make the world and the region safe from a militaristic Iran. And, well, here's a clip of Donald Trump earlier today.
You don't mind Iran having ballistic missiles. Can you elaborate on that? I want to make sure we understand your position.
No, I'm saying that if other countries have them, it's a little bit unfair for them not to have some. A ballistic missile is not the same thing as what we're talking about when we talk nuclear. But if Saudi Arabia and Qatar, and they all have some, I would say in relative proportion, I think it's okay. That's what I mean.
You said in the press conference, you said you don't mind Iran.
I really need y'all to remember way back a couple months ago, several months ago, Donald Trump was talking about the reason we have to invade is because they have so many ballistic missiles. Like, literally, he's out here arguing that we were justified in invading because they had ballistic missiles. And now when asked about whether or not Iran should have ballistic missiles, he's like, of course, it'd be unfair if they didn't have them. Like, it just really shows how full of shit all of the reasons for attacking Iran really were. This man folded like origami. This man folded like origami in the rain. Now, let's check out how this is going over with what I think is the best possible panel of experts at where the Republican electorate is at, okay? Because it's really important for us to understand how are people really receiving this news about a deal between the United States and Iran. And I think there's no one really better at that in the entirety of the
and some women
entirety of the Republican space,
part of the show,
than this particular conglomeration of people. We got the PBD boys over here.
Business. He wants to deal.
Adam, let's get to the next story.
Yes,
I got
sir.
you. You're excited today. Let's go to the next story. This is
John
good.
Morgan
yes,
here. Let's
I
be
love it.
excited.
Okay. So meanwhile, Iran's holding the funeral for Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and guess when they're doing it? 4th of July.
Yeah.
That's when they're doing it. You think it's accidental?
No, someone wants to call it
when
a
is
bang.
4th of July? What day is it on? When is 4th of July?
I think it's on a Friday.
It's a weekend now.
Is it?
It's a weekend.
So maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe it's a coincidence.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like an accidental.
By the way, he was
coincidence.
Well, okay, just real quick. In what way is this at all relevant? Because it's like they're alleging they scheduled the funeral for the same day as America's birthday. It's like, who's offended by that? No one in America gives a shit when some guy's funeral is. And honestly, it's just it's entirely possible it's a coincidence. But even if it weren't, okay, and the bigger problem is America lost. And we have been humiliated. Your taxpayer dollars are gonna go to rebuilding Iran because some dipshit in the White House decided to bomb children. Yeah, what is, oh no, they're doing it on July 4th. Everyone knows it's America's birthday on the 4th of July. It's not a holiday in other countries, you dimrods.
And
90 days ago? How long was he killed ago?
Yeah.
He's been on ice.
I mean, how long did he go?
Yeah, but they needed safety to be able to do the ceremony the way they're going to do it. They're probably going to do it pretty big. Can you guys do me a favor? Can you pull up the clip of what Vance said, denies that Iran will receive billions of dollars of assets in the deal? Because that's the kicker right there, right? Is it going to be just the frozen assets? The $300 billion is the real thing. And even though U.S. is brokering the deal, if I'm not mistaken, it's not $300 billion that taxpayers will be paying. I think it's an element of multiple different countries that are involved in that. Is this it? Guys, about
Thank you, Knifeiest Duck. I also think the off-the-shoulder sweater look is cute.
The money?
Yeah, and releasing frozen banks.
Okay, go for it. Go for it.
People say that billions of dollars of assets will be released.
Oh, thank you. They're playing the same clip.
That's not true. What is true is that Iran will have a much better and much more prosperous future if they meet the obligations they make in this agreement. We'll, of course, see. That's one of the things we're going to work out in the technical talks that will follow the official signing on Friday.
Mr. Vice President, it's Ed O'Keefe, and we're so glad you're here in part because, as Republican Senator Lindsey Graham said yesterday, you are the architect of this deal. So let's walk through some of this.
Can we just note that Lindsey Graham telling the press that JD Vance is the architect of the deal is also them throwing him the fuck under the bus?
The Iranians are saying that they're going to have access to a $300 billion reconstruction fund. True or false?
Well, Ed, that's the sort of thing they could have access to, funded by the Gulf Coast Coalition, so long as they honor their end of the obligation. I think that one of the things you're going to see, Ed, and people have to be skeptical of this, is that the hardliners in the Iranian system will overemphasize the benefits that Iran gets while underemphasizing all the things that they have to concede and all the things they have to provide in order to get these benefits. So we absolutely are open to the Gulf Coast countries investing in the reconstruction of Iran, but only if Iran ends their nuclear program, ends their enriched stockpile of material, and is really open to an inspections and enforcement regime that gives the American people confidence they're never going to have a nuclear weapon. So I think the dance you're going to see, Ed, which is going to be interesting, is the Iranian media, especially the hardline media, they're going to talk a lot about what they get without talking about what they give. It's important for all of us to correct that record.
Well,
pretty interesting.
Well, listen, one thing he didn't want to hear is you are the architect.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that is like, this is
lawyer talk.
Lawyer talk, and this is presidential election talk, 2028. He's setting JD Vance up, or somebody is, for a big win or a big fall.
Bingo.
Like, I mean, even Republicans, they're like, oh, I know what that is. That's a knife in the back already right there. JD Vance, he's not doing okay.
But this $300 billion is not reparations, just so you know. It's not a guarantee. No. Everybody wants to know who controls the money.
It's a lot of, you're right, it's a lot of release of frozen funds.
Apparently, Gulf states are going to be in.
Again, the idea that, it's $300 billion of frozen funds. Iran is only estimated to have about $50 billion of assets in frozen funds. So that is also covered by a different part of the Memorandum of Understanding. Like the lifting of sanctions, the unfreezing of funds. This is a different part of the memorandum. So it's unrelated to the hundreds of billions of dollars that are promised for reconstruction in the Memorandum of Understanding. So the idea that, they must have hundreds of billions of dollars frozen up. No, they don't.
Involved. Private investors are going to be involved. U.S. is going to be involved.
Again, what's crazy to me is that Patrick Bet-David's over here like, private investors are going to be involved, other countries are going to be involved, obviously. But nothing in the Memorandum of Understanding says that. None of the reporting around this says that. Where's Patrick Bet-David getting this information? He's pulling it out of his ass. He's just like making a bunch of assumptions and saying, well, I mean, otherwise, like, it'd be insane to give Iran $300 billion of taxpayer money.
It's not a check wire. We're handing it to you. Go do whatever you want to do. There are certain things that they could do to screw up even getting the money. But Tom, your thoughts. What else do you know about this $300 billion?
Well, I love the line that's in the 14 points. While ensuring a financing of at least $300 billion agreed upon by both parties for the rehabilitation and economic development of the Islamic Republic of Iran, together with regional partners to create a comprehensive plan that will be formulated within 60 days. They're saying financing. They're not saying that this is more pallets like Obama sent over there.
Hey, guys. If someone were to come to you and say to you, I agree formally to finance your education, do you think that would mean that they're agreeing to give you a student loan? Especially if you just beat them up and you're begging them to stop? No, what's happening here is that we have committed to giving them $300 billion. I imagine that the Iranians are not very particular on how exactly that financing is obtained, but how obtaining financing work is you get money, and the world that Patrick Bet-David and his cronies seem to live in is, well, that just means that the United States is going to like bring in private contractors, and then Iran is going to pay the private contractors to do reconstruction work, obviously. And like, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. Like, when the agreement states you're going to give Iran $300 billion, that doesn't mean you're going to facilitate the meetings between Iran and $300 billion of like contract work, and then Iran is still on the hook for $300 billion. That's not how this works. That is not what happens when you lose a war.
The pure definition of ex falso quodlibet. His propositions are dog shit, and he builds a story from that dog shit. Face exhaling emoji.
Face exhaling emoji indeed. But thank you for the $20 super chat, 2D Sanctium. Very much appreciated. Accidentally clicked the wrong button.
We're talking about Gulf states. So let me just make it really simple. Do you remember everybody was upset when Dick Cheney, the United States arranged for Halliburton to go back and rebuild Iraq?
Weird.
Well, now it's all the little Halliburtons that are in the Gulf states. They're all going to get their piece of the pie. And guess what?
Hey, just real quick. The comparison here doesn't make sense because Iraq didn't defeat the United States. There's a very key difference here.
Iran can pay for it with oil. And so they're saying, Pat, it's a $300 million financing. A lot of other countries would be involved. And so it's not pallets of cash the way Obama did previously.
And what you hope, since
I'm looking at r/conservative and they are fucking dejected. Of course they are. It's like the ultimate humiliation of their entire ideology.
Trump is a construction guy. The way you build buildings is you meet certain thresholds and then you get certain draws.
Yeah, conservatives for the last decade have been shitting themselves in rage over the fact that Obama unfroze $1.4 billion in assets to give to Iran to get them on board with the JCPOA. Donald Trump is pledging to unfreeze 50 times that in Iranian assets and also give them $300 billion. It's truly, truly insane.
You don't just get the money up front if you want to be bonded. You meet certain thresholds and then you get a draw and then a draw and a draw.
You know that's how it's going to be.
I would think. Listen, Trump is a construction. That's his business.
That's right.
And so he's used construction throughout his presidency, and I can't imagine him rebuilding anything without certain thresholds and construction draws. And I think
there are going to be thresholds. There are going to be what Iran has to do to get that money. But ultimately what it comes down to is that we are giving Iran hundreds of billions of dollars. It is in the memorandum of understanding. It is in the agreement that is signed now in front of the entire world. It's something Trump has bragged about.
Those draws is going to be the dust.
Yeah, and by the way, that the key in there is you don't get any of the. So one, the Hormuz has to stay open. You cannot do anything. You have to agree to the.
Oh yeah, the Strait of Hormuz has to stay open. Just real quick here. Update, by the way, apparently 11 Iranian ships have sailed through the Strait of Hormuz, so that's progress for sure. Yeah, earlier today, Donald Trump said the Strait of Hormuz will be open as soon as possible, but he's also been quoted as saying that, he understands if a certain toll, a certain fee needs to be charged, which is, I think, very interesting. Iran, as of 11 hours ago, Iran will develop a mechanism for Hormuz Strait with Oman. Iran's foreign ministry spokesman, Esmail Baghi, says it will develop a mechanism for the Strait of Hormuz with Oman, adding that the two countries will exchange views with other countries when necessary.
Guys, I just found another instance of unfrozen assets. It seems like we unfroze $150 million of frozen assets that ballooned to $1.280 billion worldwide.
Well, Sake, as we all know, the correct response to this current ongoing crisis is to let it go, let it go. All right, I'm done. I'm done. Stream is dead. It's never coming back. Just like the Disney Renaissance. All right. But yes, Iran and Oman will develop a management mechanism for the Strait of Hormuz and will cooperate and consult with other regional countries wherever necessary. Regarding the Strait of Hormuz, it has been agreed that maritime traffic will be returned to normal within a specified time. This is our own responsibility, and only we will carry it out. There will be no need for participation or intervention from other parties, which is very clearly here Iran saying, we are going to maintain control over the Strait of Hormuz. We're going to work together with Oman, but we're going to be charging some tolls. All right? The idea here that they're not is ridiculous. But Patrick Bet-David seems to live in this delusional world where, no, that couldn't possibly be allowed to stay in place. But let's continue to finish this segment.
Terms. And if you don't release the enriched uranium that Trump said U.S. needs to see it, I don't want to have another country see it. I want to see it. If that doesn't happen, you're not getting that set up in place to be able to help you out. None of that's going to be taking place, Adam.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I agree.
My opinion, they're never going to see that 300 billion. They could have called it 18 trillion gazillion. They're never going to see that money. Why? Because it's all predicated on if they change their behavior or not. Remember in 2016, we all learned the word quid pro quo. It's a quid pro quo.
Yep.
This entire deal is based on the premise that they're going to be rewarded for good behavior. So Iran, the biggest terrorist regime in the world, the smelly kid on the playground, is just going to overnight be like, we want to be friends with everybody. There's no chance that's going to happen. So whether this is 300 billion or 300 gazillion, they're never going to see this money because they're not going to change the behavior. It's great for marketing. Trump did an amazing job on his birthday cutting this deal. We all know that once midterms is done, I don't think Iran is going anywhere. We'll probably be re-engaged with Iran after midterm.
Vinny, I'm coming to you about UFC. What is the whole thing about plotting FBI? They were trying to attack the drone.
Okay.
What happened there?
What's interesting here is that Adam's just like, they're never going to do anything good. They're never going to do anything good. But then you look at the news coming out today, and Iran has apparently agreed to destroy their uranium stockpile. Essentially, by working with the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Association, I forget what the final A stands for, but basically they're going to work with the IAEA, and the IAEA is going to oversee them what's called down blending, which effectively maintains the uranium itself, but de-enriches it, I guess you could say. Then they can continue to use the uranium for different civilian purposes. Because, again, nothing in the Memorandum of Understanding prohibits Iran from using uranium and radioactive material for civilian purposes. Literally nothing in the Memorandum of Understanding prevents Iran from doing anything that they weren't already not doing. God. We get nothing. The United States gets literally nothing out of this entire arrangement. It's crazy.
They know they don't need it anymore.
Exactly.
Having a chokehold on the world economy is much better.
They have established one of the most effective non-nuclear deterrents in world history. That is what has happened. The United States fucking lost the Iran war. Also, thank you for the $10 super chat, Anime Sidekick Gal. And Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. Very much appreciated. Yeah, the IAEA, the same people who were overseeing the Obama-Iran deal, it's literally just the same thing, but Iran gets hundreds of billions more dollars, and the United States gets humiliated on the international stage. It's cool stuff.
Story.
Apparently, the FBI said, and they caught, I think, a dozen and a couple more that were plotting against it. I think they were out of California. They stopped a major planned terror attack targeting the UFC Freedom event at the White House. According to reports, investigators uncovered a plot involving explosive.
Oh, they've already moved on. They're talking about the thing I already talked about yesterday. They're playing catch up with where I'm at. I'm always a day or two ahead of these chuckle nuts. 5 years worth of missiles to achieve literally nothing. Yeah, we drained our missile stockpiles. Apparently we were firing 3 interceptors at every single projectile that was coming at the different U.S. assets. By the way, part of the Memorandum of Understanding involves U.S. troop drawback out of the region, not just out of the immediate vicinity of Iran, but out of the general region around Iran as well. So I'm wondering if that means we're going to start closing down military bases in the area. It's very interesting, but like even the Patrick Bet-David boys are just kind of like, yeah, this deal's pretty bad. But maybe it's good, but it seems pretty bad. And also, it really seems like they're throwing JD Vance under the bus because of this. And I just think that's funny. I think that's good. It's not going to happen is the thing. Well, that's the other part. Like, Adam is correct that Iran might not ever see any of this money. But Adam's incorrect in alleging that the reason Iran isn't going to see any of this money is because Iran is just too hopelessly corrupt. Adam is correct, but only because Israel is continuing to bomb Lebanon, which is a non-negotiable part of the Memorandum of Understanding. Israel has to stop and withdraw from Lebanon. Otherwise, the entirety of the Memorandum of Understanding is not worth the paper it's written on, right? So all of this is just hot air bluster theater for the stock markets, unless Donald Trump and the Trump administration gets Israel to pull back. And frankly, I don't know that that's actually going to happen, because I think Donald Trump knows that if he does force that event to happen, it's going to absolutely shatter the MAGA base. Like, that they're already precarious. You know, you got the Charlie Kirk camp, the people who wail and gnash their teeth over Charlie Kirk, and then you've got like the well, I guess not the Charlie Kirk camp. The death of Charlie Kirk was really the breaking of this, but you've got like I guess the Tucker Carlson camp and the Ben Shapiro camp. You know, it's gonna get real nasty if Donald Trump, out of some kind of animal political instinct, does put his foot down and get Benjamin Netanyahu to withdraw troops. It's going to get real nasty in Republican politics for quite some time.
Is it wrong that their coping and seething gives me life?
Nope. Inject it directly into your veins. Impossible to overdose on the catharsis of seeing conservative tears. Justice for the couch. I mean, that's really who we should be concerned about at this juncture. The couches that JD Vance will take all this frustration out on, no couch deserves that. So, all that being said, folks, if you got anything out of this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment. Comments really help in the algorithm. Let me know what you think about the fact that the Patrick Bet-David crew, literally the lowest common denominator of MAGA out there, is basically nodding along like, yeah, this kind of sucks, doesn't it? I think it's very interesting. But let me know what you think. And folks, get organized, because they certainly are. Join your local Dems, kick out those corporate Democrats, get pro-working class Democrats in, and make them actually work for you. You can do this by joining your local Democrats and pushing them further left. All right?
More cushions, less pushing.
I really love the SVU sound drop. It gives me so much life. Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. And folks, also, do check out your local DSA. We need people to organize their local labor, all right? So join your local Dems, join your local DSA. If you need help, we can help you do that. Join our Discord, reach out to GamerG for help organizing your local DSA, and reach out to Dragonfly for help organizing your local Dems. And we can help you get started too. Like, it's scary going to your first meeting, but like, we can make it easier and we can demystify it for you. All right. The more of us that get involved, the better off we all are. So join those groups. Consider looking into Progressive Victory as well. We got a link down below in the description to help you do that. They'll plug you directly into leftist campaigns across the country to door knock, to phone bank, to do research, to text bank. We can get you directly involved in campaigns across the country. So do consider doing those 3 things and getting more and more involved in your local politics. All that being said, last but not least, check out ImogeneOlivia.com, gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes, also tested with cis men, cis women, non-binary folks. It is comfortable, sexy, non-tucking lingerie. Go check it out, ImogeneOlivia.com. Link down in the description, and let's keep on going.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and swishy streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.